Hi everyone, this is Christy Roth for another Tech Tips for APE or Adaptive Physical Education. So today we're just going to really quickly look at putting an antecedent behavioral consequence observation form into Google Forms. So Google Forms is a tool that you can use to create surveys and quizzes. And a lot of times when we want to analyze our full environment where we are working with students, whether they have disabilities or not, we need to take a step back and look at everything that's happening around when behavioral incidents occur. So a way that we can do this is by doing an observation where we're looking at the antecedents, or what happens before the behavior, the actual behavior that happens, and the consequence. Typically, we do this in an open-ended format where we're just handwriting notes. However, I want to show you a handy way to do this with Google Forms because it helps us with greater analysis. So here's an example of an ABC form, observation form, that's put into a Google form. You can enter in the students' names, date, time of incident. You can identify the people who would potentially be involved. You will have the people listed here who interact the most with that student in that physical education environment. Potential equipment that might be in use during physical education. Lesson component during incidents, so instructional time, transitioning, large group activity. The location of a potential incident. And then here we're looking at antecedents. So here's what's happening before the behavior occurred. So are the students involved in an invasion game, a difficult task, a fitness activity, etc. Here's examples of behaviors. So knowing the student, you will put in here what potential behaviors that student generally shows. The behavior intensity, the duration, the consequence, and then some additional notes. So here's an example of how this looks once you receive some responses. So Google Forms gives you some really nice visual analytics for behavior. I would recommend that if you're having this behavior tracked, this is a great job for a paraprofessional or physical education volunteer to do during physical education where they're just watching and inputting data. You can also make this a more generalized form, so it happens throughout the school day. So you'll have behaviors or antecedents that are potential throughout the entire school day, and then you can track trends. When you're looking at the time of incident, you get a really nice visualization of frequency. So we're seeing here that there's a higher frequency of incidents in the morning, and that can allow us to think, okay, maybe one of the factors is something that's happening in the morning. When does the student take medication? If they take medication, are they getting enough food in the morning? Have they had enough sleep? These could be some questions that you're seeking to answer when you're looking at trends and data. The people involved were able to see in this situation that the student has a greater number of incidents with the paraprofessional, and this can be really telling. Sometimes paraprofessionals and students don't exactly click, and a student may be reacting negatively to a paraprofessional, and analyzing this data can give us some idea of if this is a factor in impacting the behavior. You can get a feel for the type of equipment in use during incident. Are there certain equipment that's triggering the student's behavior? Then we can see here that this student struggles the most during transitioning time, and what that allows us to know is plan for how we can better prepare the student for transitioning. So giving them a visual cue prior to transition, providing them with a picture schedule so that they know when an activity is going to be done, giving them a visual timer so that they know when the activity may be coming to an end. Then location of incident, we're able to see that the student has the most difficulty in the gym. There's no trouble in the locker room or on the playground or in the weight room. Then when we look at the antecedent, then what we see is their biggest struggle is when they're asked to follow directions. So it could be the way that the teacher or the paraprofessional is asking the student to follow directions. So how are they saying that to them? Are they telling the students to follow direction? Are they asking them? Is there a different way that they could be prompting them to follow directions? Then when we look at the way the student's responding, it's pretty consistently across the board. There's all kinds of responses here, except we do see a greater level of responses for refusing to participate. And that can be really telling. And we can see that the behavior is medium level intensity. So their biggest trigger is to refuse to participate at a medium level intensity, generally lasts around 1 to 5 minutes. And then the most common consequences are removing the student from the activity and a loss of privileges. So what that can tell us is that maybe we need to change the consequence that we have when the student refuses to participate. Okay, so this is just a really quick visual. You also can look at this then in an Excel format here and watch another video on using some of the add-ons in Excel to do analysis. But one of the tools I like a lot in Excel is this Explore feature, and this gives us some greater visualization. So if we wanted to print a report, we actually can drag and drop some of these visualizations onto the Excel, or we can copy that and put it in a Word document for reporting purposes. So the last thing I want to show you is when you set up your Google form, if you click send at the top right, you have the ability to email this form to the teachers or other individuals who you want them to complete it. So you also can link this Google form onto an iPhone or iPad. If you open it in Safari, then you click the box with the out arrow, and then you can choose the option Save to Home screen. Then that will add this Google form as a quick tab or little button that you can tap to get to it really quickly. So I hope this was a quick, helpful lesson on tracking behavior data through Google Forms. Have a great day.